It's time for Down on the Corner with Dale Hoffman, North Arkansas's premier news talk program. Brought to you by Brewed Awakening Coffee, with 3 locations to serve you. Baxter Regional Medical Center lobby, Highway 62 412 at Balmer Boulevard, and the Walmart East Plaza. And now, Down on the Corner.
Good morning, North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri. It is Wednesday and Thursday.
Hey, whoop, whoop. It's kind of weird. It's kind of saying Wednesday or Thursday.
We are doing a pre-record because we're on vacation this week.
We're on vacation?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just a figment of your imagination today.
Oh, so this really isn't happening.
You're going to see me wearing about 4 different shirts today. Thanks to the process of editing. This is our post-Christmas Day and the day after Christmas Day, so to speak. And we're doing a little pre-record here for the morning.
I'm hoping everybody enjoyed the Christmas show we've had the last couple of days, though, because that was actually a lot of fun putting those together. And
Pastor Rick Watts.
They did a great job.
Dr. Ted Rogers, and then, of course, the girls, the Victory Trio. A lot of fun there. And
great sound.
Man, they were incredible.
They're
unreal.
Really are. And so we want to thank our sponsors real quick, and we're going to do a morning prayer here for after Christmas. And we want to thank Brewed Awakening Coffee. Of course, I enjoy Brewed Awakening Coffee every morning. Still have a cup right here. And so Brewed Awakening Coffee has been a sponsor with us back in the radio days and now with the television program. And we look forward to 2019. Mike and his gang for serving the community well. 3 locations to serve you. Brewed Awakening Coffee. Of course, you got Baxter Regional Medical Center. You got Balmer Boulevard and 62 East Plaza out by Anytime Fitness. You can drive through 2 of them and walk in 1. You don't want to drive through the 3rd one. Some guy tried that last year.
Yeah, I think he's still in jail.
He's still in jail. But anyway, Brewed Awakening Coffee, the best coffee in town. If you don't believe me, stop by the studio first part of next year when we get back to the regular routine. And
get the maximum strength.
Get the maximum strength. Brewed Awakening Coffee, they've got every blend you can imagine. Mochas, lattes, they've got pumpkin spice, they've got it all.
You name it, they got it.
They can help you out. So I'll tell you what, be sure to check them out. Brewed Awakening Coffee is the best coffee in town. If you're not drinking Brewed Awakening, you're just drinking muddy water. Appreciate their sponsorship throughout the year on Down on the Corner. And looking forward to being with them again in 2019. Morning prayer brought to you by Roller Funeral Homes. With all our respect, Roller Funeral Homes across the state of Arkansas. I think this is the day after and the day after the day after Christmas, and he's talking about funeral homes. Well, it happened to me. It happened to our family. You know, you've got to start thinking, you know, when they get older, what are we going to do here? You know, a couple of days from now, sit down and do some pre-planning. You can talk to Bruce or Chris or Brad out at Roller Funeral Home here in Mountain Home, or any of the Roller Funeral Homes across the state of Arkansas. With the utmost respect, dignity, professionalism, they will help you. Roller Funeral Homes across the state of Arkansas. They bring the morning prayer each and every day. So let's pause now for our morning prayer. Heavenly Father, now it's all over. The most anticipated day of the year has come and gone again. All of the gifts unwrapped, plenty of leftover food to eat, family and friends preparing to go home as family routines return to normal. Now we look forward to a new year. Lord, as 2019 approaches, I pray before it arrives on January 1st, you protect our country. Lord, protect us from attacks, protect us from terrorists, even protect us from our own people as they try to attack us. Lord, I pray as 2019 is a year where our people prosper. I pray gas prices continue to stay low. I pray that jobs continue to be plentiful. My prayer today is let our people prosper. And that is my prayer today. Amen.
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 Morning prayer brought by Roller Funeral Homes across the state of Arkansas. Roller Funeral Homes. Normally at this time we'll give you the morning weather, but once again this is being recorded on December 20th, and we want to be accurate with the weather. And we almost need a trumpet that's tuned.
Hey, I did something different today. That's why we brought Matt on. He has got a perfect trumpet. It is going to do it for
You
us.
got a trumpet? Yeah, it's not
There
bad.
you go.
Yeah.
A little bit more in tune than Scooters, maybe.
The weather today brought to you by Old Time Restaurant on the Square Mountain Home. The weather is what it is because we don't know. This is being recorded on the 20th of December, and we're just filling time. But we do have Dennis Dunderdale coming up with Arkansas Game and Fish. Got some nice videos to show coming up. We're going to have a nice show for you there. But we appreciate Old Time Restaurant on the Square.
You guys will love the videos.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And Dennis is so interesting to talk to. A lot of fun there. And so Old Time Restaurant's been with us for a long time now, and they're the weather sponsor. And, of course, we want to be accurate with the weather. Once again, this is a pre-recorded segment for the day after Christmas and on the 27th of December. We're taking 24, 25, 26, and 27 of December off.
Yep.
We'll be live again on Friday, the 28th. We want to thank all the viewers. We've got people on cable, antenna, watch on computer, 3 different feeds there for, the kind comments. And, we've had a lot of interesting people on the program the last year or so. So we thank Old Time Restaurant, Scooter Amanda, for sponsoring the weather. And then, of course, we have affordable housing that brings us to the community calendar, 7412883. We want to be accurate with community calendar. On Friday, we'll update everything again. And so we're just, like I say, we're doing a pre-record going into the Arkansas Game and Fish program.
Now, Dennis Dunderdale is, of course, with the Arkansas Game and Fish. We've had him on a number of times. And you get that man rolling. And we've talked about recording 2 different shows at the same time, because once you get that guy fired up, it's hard to squeeze this into an hour. It really is.
Yeah.
I think we could
45 minutes when we do a long intro.
And I think we could do 2 shows with him sitting here in one setting, because he's got so much information, and it's entertaining to listen to. To hear what all they got going on, and this time they did the videos, and he gave us some videos that are really.
And I love mesmerized. The ones.
The bear one is my favorite.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. You're really going to enjoy Arkansas Game and Fish today, and we're going to air this today and tomorrow, which will be 26 and 27 of December. Once again, this is being recorded on December 20th, and Dennis was here. The first part of December we recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good, and he's got some other videos that we're going to hold off and do as we go down the line and stuff. But
it's funny to see this time of year, and I've seen it all my life. Long about today, the 20th of December, but how they'll accelerate up till about noon on the 24th, and then things just kind of
die out,
just kind of laid back.
And rightfully so.
And it's time. The whole earth. The Christian believers come out and just. Time to relax, celebrate the birth of Christ.
Christmas is my favorite time. I look forward to Christmas, and I like Thanksgiving. Don't get me wrong, and we do the family comes over, and we get everybody together. But Christmas, there's just something about it.
It's just something special about it this time of the year. I enjoy being out in the hustle and bustle for a while, and go home and relax, have a sandwich. I
remember, and my favorite point. Everybody comes over. We got a house full of people. Of course, my phone's ringing. Got a house full of people, and got all this going on, and somewhere in the middle of the afternoon, everybody's just wore out, and you're kind of laying around chilling, and it's just, you got cookies fun up on the counter. You got, it's just
bring
a fun
out the
time.
Scrabble board or the Monopoly or something.
Oh, we're not talking about Christmas games. Let's not bring up Christmas games, because I've been told ours are inappropriate.
Anyway, coming up, we've got Dennis Dunderdale, Arkansas Game and Fish. And once again, this is pre-recorded, being recorded on December 20th for December 26th and 27th. And we appreciate all the viewers and our sponsors. We've got a number of sponsors that keep us going throughout the year. And this is your local hometown television station for Mountain Home in Harrison. And we look forward to serving you in 2019. And
I'm looking forward to the new year.
Yeah, it's going to be some good changes coming up.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. And so when you advertise right here at Hometown TV, the money stays right here. It's
one thing I'm looking forward to is school starting and getting those kids back here in the morning.
The morning prayer.
They lighten my day. I mean, they really do. It's a fun way to start the day. I love the kids. They're great.
It really is. Mountain Home Christian Academy does a great job. And once again, if you can help the Mountain Home Christian Academy financially, call them at 424-6622. They'll be back open normal routine by January 3rd or 4th.
We got about 30 seconds. Anything you want to say, Matt?
Well, with Mr. Dunderdale on today, and it being the 26th and 27th, for any hunters, Modern Gun opens back up 26, 27, 28. So enjoy your time off. Get out in the woods.
Good point. Good point. I'm hoping to get a little bit of time.
That's probably where I'm at right now.
Yep.
I'm not here. I am hunting.
Once again, this show is being pre-recorded on December 20th for December 26th and 27th. We're going to welcome Dennis Dunderdale, Arkansas Game and Fish. And so with that, Scooter, I think we're about out of time. So let's bring it on, shall we?
You bet. You guys enjoy the show, and we will be back, tomorrow or Friday.
28th of December.
Be back.
See you then.
When I grow up, I want to save lives, like a superhero. and show up when people needed me.
When I grow up, I want to do animations. I want to create characters that can fly.
No matter what it is you want out of life, there is a path to get there.
When I grow up, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I know I want to go to college.
Arkansas State University Mountain Home. Take your first step at asumh.edu.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
Why would I recommend Hospice of the Ozarks? Because I know the people that work there, I know their hearts, and I know that their desire is to help people with the suffering and the anxiety and the things that can come with either terminal diagnosis or a terminal condition. We want them to have a peace of heart and to have a comfort and to know that someone's there to help them through that so they can enjoy the time that they have.
Take a step back in time when going to a barbershop meant more than just getting a haircut. Come into Legionnaire's Barbershop today, a unique gentleman barbershop. Get back in style from a former celebrity hairstylist and a licensed barber instructor who are trained in tonsorial arts and lock removal and happy to give you a straight razor shave. Legionnaire's Barbershop is veteran-owned and operated and located at 848 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. For a full, old-fashioned barbershop experience, stop by Legionnaire Barbershop today.
Our old burger was only 7 ounces, but now it's 8 with brioche bun and pickles. Comes with its own steak knife, it's really that big. Your best competition is always yourself. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. We're focused on one thing, burgers, ribs, fajitas. Just that one thing, burgers, ribs, and fajitas. We're reeling in our menu because it got out of hand. We had a moment of self-actualization. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back.
Welcome back to Down on the Corner program, the last Wednesday of the month, the last Wednesday of the year, and it's always Arkansas Game and Fish. Dennis Dunderdale here, and welcome. Can you believe the end of the year is upon us?
We are there, aren't we, huh?
Wow.
Yikes.
Boy,
December.
2018 just kind of came through and gone, didn't it?
Wow. And Christmas is in the can.
Wow.
Wow.
Doesn't sound practical.
It doesn't, does it?
No, it doesn't. The credit card bills aren't, though.
Yeah. So what you got for us today, Dennis?
Well, you know, I was thinking of what's appropriate to do, you know, and it occurred to me, I was watching a video that I oftentimes play, because I do a lot of luncheon shows for Rotary and, you know, that sort of thing. And one of my favorite presentations is a video that Game and Fish produced during our centennial year, which was 2015. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission was born on March 15th, 1915. And so as a commemorative to that, we, you know, had birthday parties and all that sort of thing. But we produced what I think is probably one of the best conservation agency videos ever produced, and it's about a 15 or 18 minute, you know, somewhere in there, video that kind of chronicles not only the history of the Game and Fish Commission, but a lot of anecdotal information of the things that we've done over the years, and it what's the word I'm looking for? It's narrated by some of the key players that contributed greatly to Game and Fish. Some of our former commissioners, some of the more prominent employees, me not being one of them, but it's a really good video. And every time I show this, and every time I see it, usually the response is, man, that just makes me want to get up and run out and enjoy the natural beauty of Arkansas. So
Yeah.
I thought today we could kind of talk about that and just kind of reflect on what an absolutely beautiful state we have and how abundant it is with natural resources and wildlife and fish and just so many things. And we'll break a little bit through it when there's an appropriate time and maybe talk about some of that anecdotal information. So the name of it is A Century of Conservation, because it does commemorate our 100 years. And why don't we just roll right into that? What do you think?
There is a delight in the hardy life of the open. There are no words that can tell the hidden spirit of the wilderness, that can reveal its mystery, its melancholy, and its charm. The nation behaves well if it treats the natural resources as assets, which it must turn over to the next generation increased, and not impaired in value. Conservation means development, as much as it does protection. Theodore Roosevelt. In the early 1900s, President Roosevelt held a White House conference on conservation. As concerns about natural resources and wildlife grew, Americans were spreading west, replacing vast forests with cities, cropland, and pastures. Arkansas was changing, especially the wildlife. Elk, bison, and swan were completely gone from the state. Ducks, quail, and fish were harder to come by. Something had to be done. In 1915, Act 124 was signed into law, and the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission was born.
In 1916, Arkansas's first game wardens were hired for $80 a month, and they had to provide their own horses. Times have changed, and so have our tools, but the call to protect our state's wildlife and natural resources never will. I take a lot of pride in knowing we're all carrying on the legacy of those original 9 wardens.
In 1918, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act was passed. Unregulated hunting had caused populations of many bird species to decline sharply, and market hunting posed a similar threat to North America's waterfowl. The act set federal regulations on the hunting of migratory birds. And nearly 100 years later, that means plenty of ducks for us today.
During the 1920s, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission took steps to increase the deer population in our state. As late as the 40s, the deer population remained bleak in Arkansas. Hunting was closed in several counties. But progress was being made, and with the help of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, record harvests have become the norm with each deer season. One of the state's oldest and most successful fish hatcheries was dug by hand and by mule right here in 1928. As director of the Game and Fish Commission's Fisheries Division for many years, some of Joe Hogan's innovative principles for raising fish in ponds and transporting them across the state are still practiced today.
In 1937, the Pittman-Robertson Act provided federal assistance for projects to restore, enhance, and manage wildlife resources. Arkansas has used millions of dollars over the years for habitat projects just like this one.
In 1945, Amendment 35 became effective, making the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission an independent state agency. This gave the commission much needed stability and ushered in the way we still do business today.
This place is legendary among duck hunters. Thanks to the foresight of game and fish managers and commissioners nearly 70 years ago, this place is now known as one of the best places in the world to hunt mallards and flooded green timber. Valmeda is one of the greatest places for the public to come hunt, and we're very fortunate to have it.
Thanks to the Dingell-Johnson Act signed in 1950, when you make purchases like this, you're actually giving back to fishing in our state.
In 1951, this beautiful place was completed. It's been stealing the hearts of fishermen for generations.
At the request of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, NBC came to film a live duck hunt in 1956. And more than 250,000 ducks filled the air in front of the cameras on that day, and outdoorsmen have been flocking to our state ever since. 7 years later, I produced the first of many long-running fishing shows shot here in Arkansas.
How about that?
That's pretty solid, yeah. Appreciate your help.
Yes, sir.
Now, technology has really changed, but the thrill of filming the great outdoors never will.
We were known as the bear state long before we were known as the natural state, but black bears were almost hunted completely out of the state of Arkansas. Today we have over 5,000 bears in the state, thanks to the reintroduction effort in the 1950s and 60s. This reintroduction effort is recognized as the most successful reintroduction of a large carnivore in history, and we're very proud of that.
In 1971, hunter education classes began in the state of Arkansas. First and foremost, the Arkansas Game and Fish wants to make sure every hunt ends safely. It is something that has given me peace of mind and helped me to enjoy our hunting even more.
Can you imagine this beautiful spot being underwater? That's what would have happened had dams been put in place in the late 1960s. In part, thanks to the Arkansas Game and Fish, this became America's first national river, the Buffalo National River. Hundreds of thousands of people come to the Buffalo National River every year.
Elk once roamed Arkansas far and wide before the settlers transformed the landscape. Against the odds, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission brought the elk back beginning in 1981. By 1998, the herd had grown large enough for a limited hunt. I got this one in 2004.
We're known for our miles of trails, wild game, and breathtaking views. When the 1/8 cent conservation sales tax passed in 1996, it gave the Game and Fish Commission much needed funds to keep creating the habitats and improving the quality of wildlife our state reveres so much. It's nice to know that everyone in the state has a hand in helping nature.
I started my boat company right here in Arkansas. And in 2001, Game and Fish made boating safer for everyone by instituting boating education courses.
In 2001, the first of 4 Arkansas Game and Fish Nature Centers opened in Pine Bluff. Part classroom, part museum, part playground. These nature centers offer visitors walking trails, exhibits, and hands-on fun.
My love of fishing started long before we founded the Ranger Boat Company. In 2012, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission resolved the minimum flow issue with the assistance of a lot of people. Now, trout have the habitat and conditions below Bull Shoals Dam to grow and thrive, and will benefit generations to come.
More than 100 years later, it is our mission to continue to carry out the legacy President Roosevelt once spoke about. Cherish these natural wonders. Cherish the natural resources. Cherish the history and romance as a sacred heritage for your children and your children's children.
This is our Arkansas.
My Arkansas.
My state.
This is my outdoors.
My weekend.
My life.
This is my everything.
This is my calling.
This is my legacy.
Thank you, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
You make the deer woods great.
You make the fishing great.
You make my state great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
Thank you for protecting our most valuable resource for 100 years.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Do you know where your money goes when you give to charity? At the Salvation Army, 85 cents of every dollar stays to help those in need in our local community. Hi, I'm Captain Spaulding. The money we raise help people in the surrounding 5 counties, including Baxter, Marion, Sharp, Izzard, and Fulton. You can help by donating your unwanted items and by shopping at the Salvation Army store. Those in need get assistance with rent, utilities, sending kids to camp, and many other things. When it comes to this charity, the Salvation Army always helps those in our community.
Whether you're a professional lawnscape contractor or a homeowner in need of quality lawn equipment, Moran's Lawn & Garden has you covered. Moran's is the longest originally owned lawn and garden business in Mountain Home, with a 5,700 square foot warehouse packed full of new current year inventory for all your lawn maintenance needs. Moran's stocks a full line of factory parts, and they service everything they sell, offering top names like Grasshopper, Hustler, and Country Clipper. Moran stands behind their quality service with thousands of customers using their products daily. Moran's Lawn & Garden, servicing the entire Twin Lakes area.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
Life is too short to wear boring clothes. Welcome to Shabby to Chic Salon and Boutique, where we carry the latest trends and fashions and accessories at prices anyone can enjoy. Feel beautiful while looking fabulous with a large range of fashions that fits anyone's sense of style. You're sure to discover something unique and new at every visit. Shabby to Chic also features 12 professional stylists, aesthetics by Amy J, a nail technician, and 4 tanning beds. Excite your style at Shabby to Chic Salon and Boutique in Mountain Home.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with a pie lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant, located on the square in Mountain Home.
When you need durable. That was a powerful video, Dennis. That was good.
Something?
That was good. Let's talk about the demise of wildlife during that settlement period real quick.
Well, that's kind of where the whole thing began. And in the very beginning of that video, they sort of mentioned that during the Teddy Roosevelt era, and he along with others, really get credited for turning that whole situation around. But what was going on when you consider Arkansas was just a wilderness territory? You know, like Ted was here, earlier last month, talking about how there was a lot of prairie in the area. And that's true up in where we are now. But, the legend is that Arkansas squirrels could get in a tree at the Mississippi River and go all the way to the Rocky Mountain, on the other side of the Rocky Mountains before, to the desert, basically, before they had to touch the ground again. Wow. Now, I mean, that's kind of exaggerated and it makes the point, but the reality is this was a vast wilderness, and it was discovered initially by trappers from Europe, Germany, Spain, France, and once they discovered the abundance of wildlife, word got back to Europe, and more people started coming, and thus the establishment of Arkansas. The first establishment actually was down in the Arkansas Post, down by where the Mississippi, the Arkansas, and the White River all come together, and that was a trapping post. Once that word got out and explorers started coming up the rivers and establishing cities, they came to a big rock on the Arkansas River, and they found it was too big to really do much with, so they went a little further up and they found a little rock, and they set up an establishment there and named it Little Rock. And that's so all of this got going. Word got out, and things started to spread. Cities, I don't want to say cities, but townships and settlements started to establish. When those started, farmers were starting to clear land to create their pastures and their farms. A lot of the North Arkansas stuff, of course, was rocky soil. South and East Arkansas, of course, is fertile delta land. And a lot of that was getting cleared out. And as a result, a lot of wildlife was being demised through that period.
Wow.
There was, we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but there was a period where there were 50,000 bears in the state of Arkansas at one point, in around the middle 1800s. 1900s, middle of 1900s, they did a survey and they found 50 bears, 25 to 50 bears. So it was almost completely depleted. Same went on with wild turkeys. Same went on with white-tailed deer and pretty much everything else. We were over-hunting it. People couldn't go to Shaw's, and not Shaw's, but Harps and Walmart to buy their meat. If you weren't a hunter, you'd go to the town square and you'd buy your meat from a meat market, who was run and operated by the family of a hunter. People just kill everything they could, bring it to the market and sell it, and it sold.
Yeah.
So that really depleted our wildlife. And in and around the turn of the century, the Teddy Roosevelt era, if you will, and Teddy Roosevelt did a lot for this, we realized, or the state realized, that something had to be done. So they established a commission, which was basically 8 game wardens, I think is what it was, or a handful of game wardens, I forget the number. He said it in the video. And they were paid a pittance. And their job basically was to make sure people stopped hunting. They shut hunting down. I mean, they just stopped it. But they were essentially deer wardens. And that's kind of where the whole thing began back in 1915. And then from there it kind of grew a little bit, and some wildlife management strategies started to develop between Aldo Leopold and Teddy Roosevelt and his hunting club, which was the Boone and Crockett Club. They started developing some techniques for maybe rebuilding these populations. In fact, one of those was set right here in Arkansas, right over in the Sylamore National Forest. They built what was the first high fence area, and they put, I forget how many acres it is. It's a good sizable area. Some of the fence is still there. You can still see where that area was. Yep. And they what they did was they pen raised white-tailed deer in that enclosed area and then released them out into the state elsewhere, and essentially that's kind of how they did that. So fascinating history. These guys really, really worked their butts off. You know, talking about the black bear, that's probably one of the stories that we're the proudest of. The black bear, it's on the records as a carnivore. It really isn't a carnivore. Black bears eat berries and nuts and all that, which makes them an omnivore. But the black bear demised, as I said, down to 25 to 50 bears, and all of those were down in the southeast corner, down in that Arkansas Post area, the Lower White River Basin, we call that. And rather than me get through the story, we do have another video. Why don't we pull that up? It's maybe 12, 13 minutes long or so. And it tells the whole story of the Arkansas black bear, what happened, what we did, and what we're doing today. So
here's Arkansas Game and Fish black bear video.
Yeah, and it features.
Few people have a lukewarm reaction to the sight of a black bear. The most typical response is probably fear, followed closely by a sense of wonder. For some, black bears are a symbol of wilderness. For Myron Means, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission's black bear biologist, bears elicit respect and admiration.
Their physiology, the lifestyle that they've evolved into, a feast and a fast lifestyle, you know, being able to go without food for 4 to 5 months at a time, have a gestation period, give birth, wean cubs. They're a truly remarkable animal.
The story of Arkansas's black bears almost ended tragically. But now, it's literally a textbook example of wildlife management at its finest.
It was thought at the time of pre-settlement that Arkansas had maybe as many as 50,000 black bears in the state, and we were unofficially nicknamed the Bear State. Through the time of settlement, 1700s and 1800s, bears were market hunted for their fat, and they were almost hunted to extinction in the state. And by the late 1920s, the General Assembly of Arkansas actually made it illegal to bear hunt, to kill a bear in the state, but by that time it was almost too late.
As few as 3 or 4 dozen bears persisted in southeast Arkansas, in the bottomlands where the White and Arkansas rivers meet the Mississippi. But in 1958, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission embarked on a plan to bring back black bears.
They brought 254 bears in from Minnesota and Manitoba, Canada, and they released them at sites in the Ozarks and Ouachita mountain ranges.
Arkansas Game and Fish released bears over a 10-year period. Historical upland forest had been cut down, but their rebirth gave rise to rich wildlife habitat.
That population flourished under those conditions, and it was so successful that by 1980, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission was able to reopen bear season in the state.
Bears are back, a natural part of the landscape, as they were before our forefathers set foot here. Today, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission regulates bear hunting and keeps close tabs on the natural state's bears.
Population's thriving. We estimate that we have 4,000 to 5,000 bears in the state.
Black bears inhabit the Ozarks and Ouachitas, as well as the lower White River area.
Those 3 populations, we kind of treat them as distinct populations. There's not a lot of immigration and immigration back and forth into those populations from one another.
Bear season takes place in the fall in Arkansas and is controlled by various regulations and a quota system. The season has a set length, but also closes if hunters check a certain number of bears. Over the past 5 years, hunters have taken an average of 422 bears per season in the natural state. Considering there were less than a few dozen bears here just 90 years ago, it's one of wildlife management's most incredible success stories.
No other natural resource agency has ever reintroduced a large carnivore as successful as Arkansas Game and Fish Commission has. It's considered the most successful reintroduction of a large carnivore in history, not just Arkansas or the United States, but around the world.
To maintain that success, Myron Means and the Game and Fish Commission's bear team constantly monitor the state's bears. And while harvest numbers are instructive, they only tell part of the story.
Total length is 55. It's really critical for us in monitoring our bear population to kind of have an idea of how many bears are coming into the system, as well as how many bears are going out of the system that are harvested during the bear season. Well, the way we monitor how many bears are coming into the system is to have a good distribution of collared females across bear range. Of those collared females, we'll go in every year and do cub counts if they're in a cub cycle, or yearling counts if they have yearlings with them, because the cubs will stay with them for actually 2 den cycles. So by doing that, we're able to monitor reproduction effort and survival effort of those cubs up until the time they're a year old.
Radio collared female bears are tracked to their winter dens. Bears with cubs then get a visit from the Game and Fish Commission, giving us a deeper view into the black bear's world and the work that ensures a robust Arkansas bear population.
We're going to go quite a ways further down, but I just want to tell everybody from here on down we probably need to be as quiet as possible. She's just right down below the hill here, but we still have probably another 75 yards. This is a female, black, no chest blaze, and she is 5 1/4 pounds.
Keeping track of Arkansas's black bears requires an understanding of the number of bears leaving the population as a result of regulated hunting, but it also requires insight into how many bears are entering the population.
Arkansas's bear population is really good and really healthy, but it's not like we have 20,000 black bears in the state. We only have 4,000 to 5,000 bears in the state. So it's not like you see bears all the time. So unless you go in and put your hands on females with cubs, and unless you have good data from year to year to year, you really don't have any idea of what's going on with reproductive rates of our bear population.
Game and Fish biologists have attached radio tracking collars to dozens of female bears across the state. That representative sample allows wildlife managers to track birth rates and cub survival and make informed management decisions. But first, you have to get to the bear den. Reaching a bear den in the Ozark National Forest isn't the easiest task.
The experienced mothers like to have their cubs in very remote, hard to access areas. Typically they're going to den down in deep ravines and stuff like that, and a lot of times they're pretty hard to access.
With the bear den just 20 yards away, biologists Myron Means and Matt Melson quietly prepare the drugs they'll use to sedate a bear that, contrary to popular belief, is not actually hibernating.
A lot of people think bears are true hibernators, and they're not. They can go through periods of kind of a deeper sleep, but they can also arouse immediately. Even though it's really cold and all that stuff, when we do these den surveys, those females, when we go in, they can hear us coming, it wakes them up, and they're always aware of what we're doing. Some of them are more aware than others. Okay, here we go. She has at least 2 cubs. You can hear 2 different cubs feeding. We just started her, and it'll generally take 10 to 15 minutes for the drug to take effect. Boy, I'm glad I got her in the neck. God, she's huge. She is big. She's got a freaking head that wide. She's always been a big bear. Man, that's a pretty good adrenaline rush. If you're an adrenaline junkie, that's a pretty good rush. Especially when she raises her head up and looks at you 3 feet away. See how her eyes are twitching, jumping. She wouldn't pass a field sobriety test right now.
15 to 20 minutes later, it's safe to begin the den survey. The first step is taking care of Mama Bear.
That drug dries out their eyes. They can still blink a little, but they don't have anything to lubricate their eyes.
Adhesive bandages keep dust and debris out of her eyes and also aid in calming the female while the rest of the den work progresses. The main focus of this research is the cubs, which give wildlife managers a window into the reproductive success of the state's bears.
Black, no chest blaze.
Biologists record identifying characteristics such as color and other markings. They weigh the cubs and take a series of measurements, including body length, chest circumference, and foot size. By plugging the measurements into a formula, wildlife managers can better estimate a cub's age and determine its developmental progress compared to known averages. Over time, the information gathered from these remote bear dens allows biologists to track trends in the bear population and adjust regulations as needed.
You know, if you impact the population too heavy on bears, instead of rebounding in a year or two like maybe a deer population would in an area or something like that, you're talking about a population that may take a decade to rebound.
Because bears have relatively low reproductive rates compared to other Arkansas mammals, annual den surveys provide vital information. Case in point, there was a significant decline in black bear reproduction for 2 years after an unusually late freeze in the spring of 2007.
You know, we had the Easter freeze in 2007, which decimated the soft mass and the hard mass crop for that year. All the fruits and berries in the summer that bears eat, all the acorns and nuts in the fall that bears eat, all that stuff was wiped out. That's why we monitor these bears every year. We were able to make adjustments to our harvest strategies statewide to offset such a high harvest rate and to allow our reproductive rate to come back up to where it needed to be, so we didn't have drops in the population overall. It's kind of the checks and balances.
On average, Arkansas's black bears give birth to 2 cubs every other year.
And the gestation period is only about 65 days for a bear, which is extremely short.
Cubs are born in January, weighing a ½ pound or less. They gain about a pound a week until they emerge from the den with their mother in April. The black bear's den cycle is another natural marvel.
Once she enters that den cycle in mid-November, she will not eat, she will not drink, she will not urinate, she will not defecate.
Bears can recycle intestinal nutrients during the denning process. They also can convert nitrogen from urea into amino acids that aid in muscle development.
And they can actually come out of a den cycle, lose 25% of their body weight, which is all fat, and still have more muscle mass, 5 months, 4 months later when they come out of a den cycle with cubs.
Before this den survey ends, the adult female will get a thorough examination. This bear received new ear tags that identify her as part of the Game and Fish Commission's bear research.
I'll face it the opposite direction in case we can see her with binoculars. We'll have it coming pointing in both directions.
The bear cubs go back into the den with a mother bear who's showing signs of waking from her slumber.
Yeah, she's moving real well already.
Black bears are one of the natural state's most dynamic and fascinating animals. And thanks to the work of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, the story of Arkansas's black bears continues to inspire.
When you need durable and comfortable hospital scrub stat, you need the Uniform Shop. The Uniform Shop is the place for top quality uniforms, carrying a great selection of name brands including Carhartt, Cherokee, and Gray's Anatomy, as well as shoes from Clogs, Softwalk, and Landau, stethoscopes from Littman, blood pressure cuffs, scissors, name tag retractable, compression socks, paramedic BDUs, and Rocky boots. The Uniform Shop also offers customizing, embroidery, as well as minor alterations. Let us put you in uniforms. Shop the Uniform Shop. With a large showroom of over 13,000 square feet, the Furniture Depot is your local choice for quality name brand furniture at prices anyone can afford. They carry a great selection of catnapper recliners, power recliners with lumbar support, and lift chairs. Check out Furniture Depot's variety of living room and dining room sets in various styles and designs. And don't forget about their mattress gallery featuring Serta, Symbol mattresses, and adjustable beds. Family owned and operated, that's Furniture Depot, located in the Ozark Shopping Center in Mountain Home.
It's that time of year again. Time to take a hard look at your Medicare health plan. If you're looking for a new plan or looking to renew your existing plan, now's the time to renew all your options. At Bacco Insurance, we'll sit down with you and show you all the new choices and options, including $0 premium plans with low copays and dental, vision, and hearing benefits. Let us help take the confusion out of selecting a plan and find one catered to your needs. Contact Bacco Insurance today, located at 351 East 9th Street, Suite B in Mountain Home.
And we're back visiting with Dennis Dunderdale, Arkansas Game and Fish. That black bear video was really interesting.
Yeah,
I like that. How'd you like to have that guy's job?
Actually, I've been with Myron on a few of those. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He really is. And
there's no fear in that man.
No. Well, the thing is that, of course, you have in your mind that you're going out bear hunting and you're just going to stick your head in a bear cave. they set this thing up so that it is super safe. I mean, there's a lot of, high adventure. Just getting there is probably more dangerous than what happens once you get there. But they, what they'll do is they'll put a collar on the bear, because the video sort of explained all of that. They'll put a collar on the bear, and then they'll fly the area, and they'll look for a ping, just to kind of get in a general, within a couple of acres or smaller area. Then once they've got that located, then they'll get on the ground, and I don't know if you noticed him walking with that Yagi antenna. They use telemetry to find the actual site. Well, he was doing that one time, and they flew, and they got the ping, and he's walking, and there's no cave. They're not always in a rock cave like that. Sometimes they'll just go under a log or a blowdown, or just pretty much anything, because they're not really looking to get out of a deep freeze condition like they do up in Canada or northern U.S. So he's walking around with the antenna, and the thing is pinging, and there's no bear. And that happens. Sometimes they'll find the collar. Either a hunter killed the bear and threw the collar away because he thought he was going to be in trouble, which now he would be. Didn't used to be illegal to kill a collared bear. Now it is. But, sometimes they'll find this. So they're looking under leaves, and they're looking for the collar, and they couldn't find it. It turned out the bear was 25 feet up in a hollow tree. And that's where she was denning. Well, they just kind of leave that one. We'll get data on her for next year.
Wow.
But that's what they'll do, is they'll have collared bears, and those are and they figure out which ones they want to study each year, and they sort of keep track of where they're going, and they'll start looking like now. Actually, a little while ago, once they go into their den, they'll start looking for where that den is, so that when it actually does come time, they know if it's a birth year or if it's a yielding year. They only give birth every 2 years. They only have cubs every 2 years, so they'll look for that. Then they'll locate the den, and then they'll put up their schedule for how they want to go about it.
Let's talk real quick. We've got 3 minutes left on the show. Amendment 35, the independent agency, developed quite a while back.
Yeah, well, that was actually going back to the first video that we shot. Amendment 35, of course, when Game and Fish first started, it was started by the state legislature and very lightly funded at all. I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of funding. If you noticed in that video, they talked about these guys, they got $30 a month, and that was it. $1 a day, basically, and they had to provide their own horse or mule or whatever they wanted to use. Once they got up into the World War II, or just after World War II, they realized, and there's a great history book on this that the name escapes me right now, I'll think of it before the show's over, that talks about how they came to the decision to become an independent agency, but mainly because of the politics. They wanted the decisions to be made based on science, not based on political pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
So they lobbied for that, and they brought it to the voters, and an amendment was passed, which took it from the legislature and put it in the hands of 7 commissioners who were appointed by the governor, and of course that's where we are today. Once in a while, and I say once in a while, usually every legislative session somebody brings it up. Sometimes it's a big push, sometimes not so big, on how much we really want to stay in that fold versus go back to the legislature.
Well, you got your biologists and you've got your veterinarians that all have the degrees to handle this. And,
sure. Well, and that's it. And the theory is that if it were to go back to the legislature, because the legislators aren't going to necessarily think that's the case, but it becomes there is a lot of political pressure that gets put on those guys to say, hey, I want to be able to take more deer. These folks have a constituency that they have to deal with. So we really kind of like the way that it is. It's not without problems, but it's a much better system than some other states have.
Final thoughts. About a minute.
If you want to see more of these types of videos, we've got a really good YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, key in AGFC, Arkansas Game Fish Commission, AGFC, and you'll pull up dozens of videos. Also on our website, agfc.com, there's the resources tab, and under that there is a list of all the video shows that we do. Talking Outdoors is the name of that show. Anyway, there's just a lot of good stuff on there, and hopefully it'll kind of let you realize just how much work is going on at the Game and Fish Commission.
Sounds good.
We're busy.
Well, my friend, Happy New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas, and
Thank
we'll see you in January.
I did, and I look forward to seeing you at the end of January too.
With that, have a happy day. See you tomorrow.
See
so
ya.
long.